Episode 2. Midnight train going anywhere. Hope.
AoA, that's a triple play. New episodes, I couldn't wait. Yeah. Open your mind at the first gate. Press play, no need to debate. AoA, check me out. Look, plugged in, you can catch the hype. Golden Dawn, how we follow the light. Anime like life, married to it, my wife.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages? Welcome back to the AoA show. I'm your host, as always, Ian, along with the boys Isaiah.
Yo, yo, yo.
And Gavin.
What is Gucci shoes?
And today, we are here to talk about Attack on Titan, Season 4, Episode 2. This one was...
Midnight train going anywhere.
Yes. Great song.
I'll never forget
Great
that.
episode title,
Episode
yes. So that's fantastic. Anyway, moving on. No, this was this one was a real tearjerker almost, I would say, or just disturbing. There were just a lot of mixed emotions on this one, and it wasn't necessarily like, yeah, hype, explosions. And I thought this was personally the perfect episode to display, and I'm very excited to see where we go from here after getting off the heels of like the, explosions, Titans going everywhere. It's like, wow, for the glory of war, all this like crazy stuff. Like, these are the episodes that really hit and make you feel for these characters. So I'm really excited to get into this discussion. But listen, folks, if you like the content today, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, hitting that notification bell, sharing with your friends, and commenting your thoughts down below. What did you think of this episode in particular? What are your thoughts on Attack on Titan as a whole? Or if there's anything that you wanted to add to the conversation, and make sure you guys are checking out our live reaction to this episode that is up on our YouTube channel already. But yeah, anyway, hopping into it. So I have to say, man, Reiner. We're going to talk about Reiner probably a lot next one, so we don't have to go like too crazy, but he does take up, to be fair, a pretty big chunk of this episode, not necessarily in terms of screen time, although he does that, but just in terms of relevancy, right? Like his character to this story. So again, we'll be talking about him a lot in the next episode, I'm assuming, but man, I feel for these people in Marley, dude. I feel for these people. They are in a terrible spot. They're caught between a rock and a hard place. And the most terrifying thing to me is when their own family, are the ones, we get a taste of that when, Ezekiel or Zeke rats out his father to save his grandparents. But again, that's the children being brainwashed is, it is what it is. But like, when you see them get to adulthood and it's like they still mirror these thoughts. And again, a lot of these people were probably brainwashed from birth anyway. So it makes sense, right? This is their whole lives. But it was like that scene in particular when we saw Reiner's mother, especially, going off on him for making lighthearted jokes, really, about how much of devils, these people were in Paradise. That really hit for me. I know there were a lot of points before that, namely one that we all reacted to pretty heavily was the one where he envisions the 3 or the 4 children as his old companions, and that one really hit as well. But I'm curious to know, because that's just small things on the scale of this entire episode. I don't know if there's anything that stuck out in this episode that anybody wanted to talk about, whether it was Reiner or anyone else, or anything that hit really hard for them, because I could go on that, but I want to leave it to you guys on this one. If anyone has anything to say, hit me.
This episode just left me feeling like just disturbed, really. It's I can't think of any other, just so uncomfortable to watch all these people like, fight, and whether it's for fear of like, being the one that speaks out and getting punished for it, or your whole family getting punished. Because Reiner has that moment with Falco where, when Falco is basically just lamenting the circumstances that him and Gabby share. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, you don't want this. This is an honor and a privilege. Like, you understand that if I tell anybody about this, like you and your whole family are dead. And it's like, all right, so that's part of the problem right there. Number one, it's like, it's so uncomfortable. It's so awkward to watch these people, like, not even for a second, like, question, not even for a second, like, ponder any other outcome or scenario other than the one they're in, right? And like, yeah, you could, like, again, if we're talking about like the family members of the soldiers, like, what are they? They're just going to sit there and wait. But like, you have your characters like Falco, and you have your characters like, now I would say, Reiner and Zeke, even though I don't think they're thinking this way in the in the good way or the way that I would want them to, but these characters who know a little bit more of the story, right, than what they've been told from birth, and know that like these devils and like this right or wrong and black and white is not as true as they've been told. And like again, like I echoed into the reaction, like whether Zeke and Reiner, whatever side they actually think they're on, the fact of the matter is they're not 100% on the side that they started on, right? The time on, and I would say probably Reiner way more than Zeke, but like the time on Paradise Island changed them, right? He like that conversation when he's in with Gabby and the family and like, you know, he's describing and whatever, and he's like making all the jokes about it. Like those things that he's saying, I mean, like, you know, we know is nothing, literally nothing, right? But like to that family, they're like, what did you just, no, they are devils though, right? Like, you know what I mean? And it's like this whole episode was just so uncomfortable to watch. Like, I don't know. I guess like there's an argument to be made where it's like, oh, I feel bad for like Reiner and the squad, but I'm like, why don't I just wish more of the characters like that have a position where like you could think of doing something else differently about it, don't, you know?
I don't even think they do have that position though, to be honest with you.
And that's what I want to get into. Like, keep in mind, these guys can't even pee without being recorded. like quite literally, they have no private moments where they can even have like hidden discussions that we know of. Like, to be fair, there could be room, you know, later on in the season where it's like, oh, they've been gathering an X secret lair where is actually not bugged, and they have been doing these things, but you know, at face value, we don't know. But at the end of the day, we do know that at least Reiner, his heart isn't exactly set in the Marleyans, and that he does have contrary thoughts opposed to the people who are brainwashed around him. It really just is up to determine whether he's made anything of it in this 9-year front, because as far as we know, he could be running some underground, like, weird stuff where it's like they are actually planning something to maybe not go in, although I don't feel is the case, but it could be happening, I guess, is the end of the day. Like, we don't know. And it's like that mindset that he's at now, it's so hard to watch because it's like, it almost feels like there was a point where Reiner was on that pedestal where it's like you just had to hate him because of the betrayal that happened. Yep. And now they're bringing it full circle where it's like, no, he did these things because he felt like, you know, based off of everything he was raised and brainwashed to believe, and that he didn't have a way out, you know, even though we could see a way out on Paradise Island, and it's like, just stay there. Just don't even move, you know? Yeah, but like, it's so hard when it's like you bring in his childhood, his experiences, what people around him are saying, and trying to formulate something like beneficial and good out of it. And it's like, you hope at the last year of his life, he doesn't really open the door and see that light, and it's just like, wow, everything that you've kind of lived for was like almost for nothing unless you change it at this moment. And I feel like he's almost like carrying that burden where he's like, I've made it this far and kind of all I did was muck it up. And it's like, you know, I feel like he is almost depressed at the point where he's like, can I actually make a difference? Is there anything I can do? And that's almost what that change in personality is when we see him now, where he's just depressed all the time because he's just almost given up and lost hope, which is why I feel like the next episode, where it's so calmly titled, you know, what is it? The New Hope or something like that, where it's like, this might be that little spark.
That's what I'm saying. Sorry to cut you off, but I think that Reiner is at the point now where he understands that his time, like, there is nothing really he can do except imbue this sense of rebellion or, you know, freedom into the younger generation. And he realizes that Gabby is like so swept up. Yep. We saw it, you know what I mean? Like, she's like, you're kidding back there, right? And like, you know, she still's malleable and maybe will turncoat on that. But like, Falco is really the one, and not to mention he's in the OP and ED quite a bit. So I would assume, you know, he's really the one that Reiner, especially within that confrontation he has where he's like, you know, Isaiah said, you want me to tell? And it's like, for a second, you're like, Reiner, really? But then you're like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, he's doing that because like how serious the situation is. Yeah. And Falco is a smart kid and picks up on it. And I think that's what Reiner's hope is now, that I hope that I can inspire the, you know, that these people that see it, because I can't get out there and start screaming from the rooftops, but all I could do is hope that these kids that can see it, I can hide it so that they don't get stamped out and that they could actually do something to make a difference and turn this around. Because like, he's like, I think my time has passed. Like, I've only got X amount of years left. I'm just shot at the end of my rope. They don't want to set me at Paradise. Why would they? My family doesn't even, you know what I mean? Like, the whole thing shot, you know, it's like this whole hullabaloo, but it's, yeah, man, I just like that character in particular, and just this whole situation is insane. It was nuts at the end of the episode when they are literally writing down everything they are saying in that room. Like, oh man, these guys can't literally move. Like, they can't do a damn thing without these people. It's terrible, dude. It's like 1984 for anyone who's read the book. It's like, it's terrifying. But in that, like, that is, you know, and it's like, for me, it was like, again, when Reiner was talking about at the dinner table, oh, this hell, it's like, it's crazy to me that Reiner, being with them, right? These people in Paradise, like they have been living in hell, right? Theoretically, with all these Titans coming at their door, they think they're the last people in humanity, and they have gone through their own sort of hell. But I would wager that Reiner actually, thinks fondly of those times, and not necessarily the whole my friends getting eaten part, but just like the times, the interim, you know what I mean? Just the fact that it's like these people are fighting tooth and nail just to live, but they have the choice to fight, right? You know what I mean? They're able to do that. And like back home, it's like, sure, like you're not going to die, but it's like you just die when we tell you.
Go walk 9 feet past this wall with whatever barbed wire, and you just get shot on spot or eaten by dogs. Like, it's crazy.
Oh man, dude.
It's a different like it's whether we're talking about like a giant Titan that rolls up against the wall or like these soldiers, it's like the threat of death is just as imminent. Like if you're, you know what I mean? If you're not, if you're in that, if you are one of them, you are like, you're like, whether you're at Paradise Island, it's like, oh, these Titans could kill us, or it's like, oh, if I breathe in the wrong direction over here, I could get, like, your life is still in danger. You know what I mean? Like, wherever place you are. So, yeah, but I would say that, like, again, and I think this is what Reiner brought home, or brought back from Paradise Island, is that, like, idea of, like, wow, these people are, like, fighting tooth and nail to survive, but, like, they can make choices on their own. Like, they're not, like, these people aren't, like, holding them down with, like, collars and chains.
Or at least they don't know about it. They just get their memories wiped.
yeah, sure.
It's a Jackson.
But it's like, it's just, and again, I don't know. I actually think that, like, I'm sure, at least in Reiner's mind, like, that's what the whole idea behind him saying what he's saying and doing what he's doing, especially with people like Falco, is to, like, sort of, like, sneakily, like, instill a sense of rebellion and be like, that thing you're thinking, it's not wrong, but, like, you got to learn to keep a lid on it, and you got to learn, like, who you can and can't like, say that to. And to be honest, I don't know, other than Reiner, who else you could say that to who wouldn't immediately, like, snipe you. Or, like, they're like your family, your literal family. You can't even depend on, dude, because they're also brainwashed that they'd sell you out in a minute. That's Zeke's backstory. It's literally Zeke's backstory. Like, so it's like, you can't. It's this. For me, this, this idea of, like, the rebellion and this idea of, like, changing the circumstances of the world, it's got to be, these characters, and I don't know who I'm even talking about necessarily, whether it's Falco, Reiner, Zeke, maybe even Aaron, I don't know, but, like, have got to think bigger than, like, oh, but what about my friends? What about my family? Because, like, that stuff, it's just not going to work. Like, you know what I mean? The scale is so large at this point. We're talking about, like, the Titans, these creatures that have the literal ability to, like, with time, like, or have existed forever. So it's like, you've got to think bigger than, like, it doesn't matter, almost, at least in my mind, like.
No, but that's the thing, right? It's like, I think that this next episode, the fact that it's titled A New Hope, at least for me, we haven't even watched it yet, but I derive multiple meanings from that. Not only is it a new hope in the younger generation, but it's a much needed new hope in the sense that I feel like a lot of the reasons that these characters do what they do, whether it be Zeke or Reiner or whoever, are doing this because they cling to that sense of hope, right? You even see it in the end when Zeke is talking with them, and how much of that speech was true or whatever. Like, even if it's just to buy time, but that's just it, right? When he talks to the general or whoever, and he's like, let us go to Paradise. I got a year left. Like, gives them the whole pep talk. My father started it. I'll end it, right? How fitting. And, he tells them in that meeting later with the Titan Shifters, he's like, listen, the time of the Titans is coming to the end. That means we're coming to an end. So we have to do this, right? But it's like, even seeing 3 steps ahead of that, it's like, dude, it doesn't even matter if you complete this mission right now, because it's eventually going to happen that humanity surpasses Titans. It's happening right now under your nose. Give it another 50 years, dude. You guys are done. And if the Titans are done, that means you're done. The point is, Zeke, like, this is slapping a Band-Aid on, something
pulling
that
off leg.
Yeah, exactly. It's slapping a Band-Aid on something that needs to be amputated, right? That's the thing. And it's like, that's what's really sad, is that he is clinging in this, I guess, older generation, not that they're old, but my point being that these Titan Shifters, like, that's where they are right now, where it's like, that's all they can do. So they have to entrust this, or at least in Reiner's case, he's trying to be like, this isn't it. Like, it's going to happen. Like, it has to be a fight back. It has to be. And it seems like Grisha really had it right all along. And those people that were part with the owl and all that kind of stuff, where it's like, it's only so long before it's like, you have to fight back. Like, there are things worse than death. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what I mean. It's like, if they die, if Reiner or Zeke or whoever, right? Like, let's say they die putting in like their chip towards like actual progress and change, that's better than having lived a life that is virtually useless and virtually as copy, carbon, and cut out as every other person that's been subjugated. Like, especially when you're not an average citizen, right? You do have you have power, right? It depends on how you use it, sure, but like, or what you can do, but like, I guess that's my point, is if you try using that power to do something to change things and die, well, that's better than just doing nothing and living until you
I guess
die.
it's tough because it's easier said than done, because it's like, hey, like, you know, we were saying, it's like if they even breathe the wrong way, it's like they cap their mother. You know what I mean? Or like some crazy stuff. So it's a tough call, man. And it's like a lot of people, you'd be hard pressed to see a lot of people be that brave, to be completely honest with you, to be able to go through with that set of intentions. But it's a really tough call, and it just like, again, makes this show hit so much harder when you now see how the other side lives, quite literally. We haven't seen the Marlians at all until the end of the last season. We were always chilling with Aaron and crew. We had no clue these people even existed. So now seeing this whole other side to this show and this story is really just like blowing the lid off of all this crazy stuff. Well, I guess another thing I want to talk about, or one of the last things, unless you guys had something else, was the name drop of the Tyrus family. If I'm not mistaken, that was their name, and that they wield the Hammer Titan, which seems to be volatile, number one, not too friendly, doesn't play nice with others, and is very powerful from what I've surmised in that conversation.
And very secluded.
Yes.
They have not engaged with the Marlians or like anybody in, just kind of been tucked away in their own mansion.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, are these people, they're still under Marley's control? You know what I mean? But it's like, I guess they get, that family gets special privileges. Like they don't have to go on the front line. I don't know what the deal is with them. I'm confused.
We don't know.
Curious, rather.
But I believe, just from context that I picked up in the conversation, it's not so much that like they're under Marley's thumb, but that they're very much like, all right, we're not fucking with what anybody's doing over here. We're gonna do our own thing. But I think they're like some disconnected but adjacent part of the Marlians, where it's like, because I forget who it is in that conversation in the room, but like one of them is like, oh, don't worry, when it comes down to brass tacks, like they want what's best for Marley. Sure. Like they will come to our aid if we like ask them nice or go about it in a certain way. But I think, quite honestly, it's just because of the the volatility of the what is it, the Hammer Titan?
Yeah.
That like I don't know if that's I don't know where that Titan stacks up, one, in terms of the other Titans that they have, as far as the Armor Titan and the Beast Titan. Like maybe that's not a battle that they can like just go over there. That's not a battle they can risk having.
Sure.
So I don't know what the specifics are, but
I guess my thoughts on it. I almost feel like this is me going off. I have no fact to back it up, but I feel like this Titan is probably going to be the strongest that we've seen so far.
I'm guessing it's top 3.
My context clues behind that is because they also made the comment in saying that this family lives in mansions. So obviously in this society, they are stacked with wealth. And I feel like almost wealth is derived off of straight power. And what also gets me like kind of curious is why they would be able to obtain said wealth, because at the end of the day, you need to be an Eldian to, like wield this power. Yeah. So why is this sect of Eldians allowed to have this like grandiose house and mansions and such, when it's like we see what's happening to all the other carriers?
Yeah. So I actually, now correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know if I'm literally just remembering this and it's not even true, but during that conversation, did they not say that the Tyrus family had a major role in driving off the Eldians into Paradise Island? That they were, because Marley won the war way back. And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, apologies if I am, but I think the Tyrus family had a big role in pushing that king off and everyone else, and like either winning that war or getting those people away, like from Marley. So that could be why they're in Marley's good graces.
That's like kind of feeds into the point of like they did something that sort of earned them like a Medal of Honor, let's just say, with the Marlians. And so they're like, all right, y'all go off, like do your own thing. Like you're still with us though, like if we need you, but like you don't have to like be up here in the city and like, with what we're fucking with here. But like when we call, like you got to come to the door.
Yeah,
you got to answer. And I think that's, and maybe even it's the thing of, as far as the Hammer Titan, like I don't know if that power is something that they've now like secluded to the Tyrus family.
It seems like it's like, royal right
in that family gets that Titan's power, or if it's like just
only people in that family can get that Titan's power.
Right. So I'm saying like those things all together make a combination that, like, again, like Gavin saying, if the Hammer Titan is that strong, if he is like, let's just say one of the top 3, again, like that's not the door of somebody that you can go fucking around with, right? If they are that strong and they've done you guys, the Marleyans, such a good service, it's like, okay, cool. Y'all want to live in a mansion and be like, that's fine. Go do your thing. But like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I agree.
Yeah, no. I would say too, I think if I had to guess or speculate, I do think that this Titan is top 3, if not the most powerful one-on-one or just like raw strength Titan. Due to the fact that it can effectively wield a hammer. As far as we know right now, we don't know if it could change the form of a weapon, how many hammers it can have.
I think so. I kind of think it's that. Remember that like all white Titan?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm almost positive it's got to be. Yeah. So let's put it this way.
Busted.
Yeah, put the weapon
can, literally make.
Yeah.
Weapons.
So if you put a weapon in the Titan's hand, they're already menacing enough. We saw what one could do by throwing a rock. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like put a hammer in its hand, and you got yourself a beastly dude.
The ability to make weapons.
Yeah.
It's not even like what
on
weapon
the fly.
It does, but it can just, like, create a fucking thing out of nothing.
Yeah.
He gets to still like pick up real shit off the ground. This guy's like, make a sword.
That's scary, right? Because he's always strapped, literally, right? Like you can't just roll up and box him out.
But
you know?
but he doesn't look like your generic Titan stacked, where he actually looks pretty nimble and like he can move pretty quick.
Yeah.
Like he kind of just looks busted.
Yeah,
like,
he looks super strong. So I'm assuming like each Titan, obviously we've noticed that each Titan has their own quirk or, thing that like standout attribute, that makes them like, we know the Jaw Titan is incredibly agile. We know the Carrier Titan can carry shit. We know, like the Beast Titan seems to have like, at least in their perspective, like the coordinator, you know what I mean? Like the general and is able to do like long range, which seems to be really used. Armor Titan is the shield, etc. Right?
Well, and I think the Beast Titan can control other Titans as well.
Yeah.
Yes, he has some sort of control, but again, I don't know because, okay, dude, this show, I swear I could go off. But remember the conversation they had after their initial meeting when he talks to the general and Colt talks to Zeke and he's like, he's like, it's not like you have royal blood, right? And he's like, well, when you get my memories, you'll get my big secret of how I wipe my ass, but whatever. But he does have his mother is royal, right? And when Eren, even though Eren did not have the, or no, he did. I lied. He is the founding Titan, but whatever. When he touched the royal thing, point being, I don't know. Why can he control? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how far that goes. Like, if it's on a very small scale, or it's only because he has the royal
if that's
blood.
Beast Titan thing, or if that's royal blood thing.
Yeah, because the founding Titan, that's the ability, right? You can do that, but there's like, you not only need that, but you need to be a royal. So, like, okay, was it ever established that a Beast Titan can do that? Or is it, you know what I'm saying? Like, can Beast Titan also do that on a small scale where it's like, okay, put it this way, like founding Titan is King Titan, Beast Titan is like first lieutenant. You know what I'm saying? And like they have I don't know.
I think there was something where it was like the Beast Titan, right? Where like the Beast Titan can like either force transformations or like turn people into Titans against their will, and the founding Titan can straight like control and actually manipulate.
Yeah,
so it's not even that he's not on founding Titan levels where he's like, guys, like square up, but like he turned.
But he does do that against Levi. And such when he goes when Levi kills a bunch of them, he goes, when he's getting carried away by the Carrier Titan, he goes, get him, you know what I mean? And all the Titans, because they're like this, they're just standing there, and he goes, attack him, and then they all start attacking Levi. And also when they storm the castle, I think this is in season 2 when we first see Ymir's transformation. Zeke is on the sidelines and he does like yells and grunts, but basically aims them at that thing. So I don't know if it's very like simplistic commands or like what the deal is.
I think the founding Titan is straight like you can tell them what to do. You can like
it's like make me soup.
like advanced manipulation where the Beast Titan's like
basic
forward, you know what I mean? It's very,
you point them in a direction. Because he's able to just in general. You know, when in the first episode, when they jump out of pushed out of the blimp, he literally just goes, and they all just force transform.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he can like force transformations and sort of like, I don't know how to describe it, like ignite urges in the Titans.
I don't know, dude.
like rage or like, you know what I mean? And then they just can start attacking stuff. You know what I mean? So
point being, getting to long-winded way of saying each Titan has standout attributes that put them above. So like, no, it's hard to compare them because it's very situational. You know, a certain Titan might be way more useful in a certain situation than another, etc. But if I had to guess, the Hammer Titan seems like okay, we need to maybe fight other Titans. So like this is the Titan we use, or I don't know, like the really strong Titan,
like
right?
He's the
like
ace in the hole.
yeah, like I don't know. I would have to assume anyone that could craft a hammer on command is going to be. It's got to be up there as one of the best one-on-one fighters, or just like in general, like the Titan Slayer. I don't know, something.
Plus,
Regardless,
the Founding Titan could just like everybody.
That's
over,
what I'm
you know?
saying.
Just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
No, I can like reverse all your powers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the king mode, you know, it's like the chess piece. But anyway, really excited to see that. And Aaron's got his hands full when this Titan comes into play because I know Aaron's gonna have to fight it,
and you know that it's gonna be. Dope.
You know it's gonna slap. And I'm just really curious to see
I wonder
where
if
we go
though before real just random prediction.
No, go ahead.
Before Aaron gets a chance to meet him, if like some of his other squad mates, i.e. the Ackermans, are gonna have to square up with either the oh my god, I'm forgetting all their names. The Hammer Titan, or Zeke or Reiner again. Because the only other thing they're afraid of other than Aaron is an Ackerman.
Yeah, which they literally do. He's like, we have one problem, and I'm like, it's probably Levi. The Levi, then Mikasa's and Reiner's dreams. He's got like PTSD.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, bro. They are fucking.
They're all in each other's dreams.
They're just going
But
insane,
literally,
bro.
like if you think about all the other soldiers and military people that like Reiner and Zeke and whoever f***ed up, like they're the ones that stand out, but they're the ones that literally haunt their dreams.
Facts.
Mikasa and Levi are that fucking busted that like those niggas can't sleep at night without thinking about how they get jacked in the nape.
It's like we have an army of Titans, and they're like, we have a Levi.
So like, Aaron was over there, but like that was a chick. Don't get in her path. Don't. She'll take your nape right the fuck out, bro.
That'll be super curious, and I'm really excited to see how these people finally meet again. And I have a feeling either after this episode or the following, we're finally gonna go meet Aaron and Squad again. I feel like they're probably gonna do two, or no, we've already done two. I think they're gonna do this episode.
One more.
I think this one more, and I think episode 4 is where we're gonna see Aaron and Squad again.
In the season,
I believe there's 16, and then that might be the first half. I don't know if they're gonna do another 16 or a movie. Somebody was saying, I don't know. Don't take my word on any of that. I don't know.
Then if that, all right, 16. I would say like I'd give him one more. Then I got to see my boys.
4, episode 4. I think episode 4 they're gonna come and we're gonna see what's going on their side, how far they progress, like what the internal conflicts are, all that kind of stuff. The ships that got destroyed, like what their whole plan of attack is, and like Aaron's whole descent into madness.
I think we said in the reaction. I really do think it's gonna be a thing of like Paradise Island. Like the head niggas are gonna be like, what do you mean fight started? No, we're not. I'm not going. Are you fucking kidding me? And so then Aaron's going to be like, well, I'm going over there by myself. And Levi's like, no, you're taking us. And they all fucking squat up and just head over there by themselves like as a squad.
Because they're going to have to do some guerrilla warfare style stuff. Because like I said, their technology just isn't
hopefully maybe
up to snuff.
Rewinding back to the beginning of this conversation, the sight and maybe even meeting of people like Aaron, Mikasa, Levi, all of them, mixing with some of the other Eldians and stuff, and like Falco and crew, like that might be sort of kick in the pants to be like, oh.
Wait, here's the other thing too. Sorry. Okay, I also just remembered Armin has Bertold, if you pronounce it.
The Colossal Titan.
He has his memories, not only the power. So now he, I would assume, is able to see everything that's going on within Bertold's life, which is all the subjugation and tyranny that they've had to deal with. So the other side is like, yo, don't even do it. And this is where Aaron potentially turns into actually the antagonist, in the sense that like Aaron cannot let it go, right?
Well,
he's like,
the
kill them all. And it's like, dude, you don't understand. Like,
when if they all go over, like it's gonna be a thing where like, let's say Aaron and I don't know, Mikasa, let's just say, are like I want all their heads, take them all off. But like other people, like Armin, are like, no, I'm gonna go over there with you, but like it's to make sure that you don't do anything you regret, because I've seen things that you haven't seen, and I know how the other side lives. So there's gonna be like internal conflict in the group.
And it's like or maybe
that's what I mean, mix those characters.
That's assuming it's gonna even come to fruition at this point. I feel I'm gonna argue over the 9 years that they've been discussing this, that it has been the crutch. It's been the crutch of every, because we know that Armin is the guy, like he's a G, and that he has that big brain where he's gonna be like, oh no, and then with Aaron it's gonna clash. So like I feel like that has already been brewing and probably has spilled over, and when we actually pan to them, it's going to be like in the brink of that. Like, what do we do? What's happening? And it's like everything's fragmented.
Based off the pictures I've seen too of Aaron, you know what I mean, where he's like in the mirror, like all pissed off and stuff.
I think you're right, because I think that's going to be the catalyst to that. Like when Aaron is finally like, and I'm going over there by myself, and Armin's like, he's not. Listen, all right, I'm gonna go with
Yeah,
you, but
yeah,
not
yeah.
like because
Yeah.
I gotta keep. Someone's got to keep an eye on
Yeah,
you. You know,
because I'm wondering
So,
if it's like steering Aaron. It's like, okay, we just take out the Marlians, or we just like free our people, or if Aaron is like takes it too far, and he's like, no, everyone's culpable, everyone is guilty, right? Even the Eldians that let them do this. You guys betrayed my father. You were the one who turned him in. Like, you're all to blame for this because you didn't stick up for yourselves. Like, that's what I'm curious to see in
sucks 'cause
Aaron's
everybody
mindset.
has such strong convictions about
Yeah.
like the one side that they know. You know, it's like nobody knows the whole story.
Oh, man.
Everybody's like, you're gonna die because you did this. And it's like, but nigga, you don't know. You just don't know.
There's always two sides to a story,
Damn.
man. Also,
All right.
the other thing, Armin, like, you can't really do a stealth mission with Armin unless he's human, because the second he transforms, like, surprise! You know what I mean?
Well, actually, he's the best unit because he's stealthy, and then he's like, oh, my cover's blown.
No. What if he does that?
starts
It's like
killing
he's on this like undercover mission. He's like crawling through the bushes, right? And then he like looks out. He's like, all right, I'm good. And then right at that moment, he's like, "Achoo, boom!" Like he literally just—it's like one of those he just sneezes and bam, it just explodes, and he's like, and he's just trying to run across the land, dude. That someone needs to make a parody of this, please.
We can only
Please.
hope.
We can only hope.
We can only hope.
Oh man.
Anyway, folks, that was a fun conversation. That was what I have to say. Those are our thoughts on Attack on Titan, episode 2. Midnight train going anywhere. Hope.
All right, you can continue. Sorry, I was stealing the show.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed our conversation on this. Let us know if you have any thoughts as well. Obviously, don't spoil anything if you already know what's going to happen. But if you are not a manga reader and you're just predicting and all that kind of stuff, feel free to share your thoughts. Or if there's anything that we missed within it, because it was a pretty jam-packed episode, so we can't hit every single beat. So if there's things that you really felt for, got hit hard by, and you want to talk about, feel free. Sound off in the comments down below. We'd love to hear all your guys' thoughts. Make sure you guys are staying tuned again for our next live reaction and next discussion on Attack on Titan. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, hitting that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos, sharing with your friends, and commenting your thoughts down below. But until next time, we'll catch you on the flip. Peace.
Later.
Hey, you know what it is, dog. Ninjas are samurais, blaze of the kunais. Find me in the leaf of the cloud, screaming out Bankai. We just some ghouls though, who like seeing parts fly.